Hello everyone, Samson, Love to My Species. How are all of you doing today? I hope absolutely amazing. Today we're doing something a little different. We've been on one for the last
we've been on one
weeks.
for the past few hours.
It's
Trying to figure this shit out.
It's been really bad. So this is pretty much what we came up with so far, just so that we can get this podcast out.
Get you that content.
Because we all about that content for y'all. So,
Sam and I just bleached our hair. I'm still in the process.
Still in the process. My hair's pretty white though.
Draco's daddy up in this.
Shoe with a very, very big tan.
Show.
Of course, I'm joined with Momofoo Nikki.
Hi, moomoo.
Moomoo. You change your new podcast name to that? Moomoo?
I do.
If it's available.
It's
True.
like boo boo, but moo moo.
But moomoo.
And the ThatHippiePanda Bree.
What up?
We had some homework last week. Did we finish the homework?
Fuck no. No lie. Okay, I'm sorry. I've broken the New Earth. I've been reading The Secret by what's her name?
I don't know her name actually.
I think my book's like over there. Yeah, it's right there. By your Pokemon Bond.
Oh, the one that was at the Ark?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, T.
By Rhonda
I'll read it
Bryn?
if you make us read
Bryn? Byrne.
Honestly, it's just like a smaller book, so I can it's more of like a reasonable goal for me to meet. Because I haven't fully read a book in since I fucking graduated high school.
Honestly, A New Earth is not that bad. I have been kind of cheating. I've been doing the ebook.
Audio bit.
I don't know why. I really like the book, but I just feel like that I need to I don't really enjoy the audiobook just because I feel like my brain doesn't really retain. Especially, well, it's because I've only been listening to it when I'm at work. So obviously
yeah, totally.
True.
I mean, listen to people trying to talk to me. I'm like, bitch.
True. I usually go on my breaks and I will read and have the audiobook going on YouTube and just kind of follow along and write notes down if things happen. Which I didn't finish the 3 weeks that the 3 chapters that we were
that we set
we're
on
supposed
schedule.
to do.
Literally, it took me till 6 in the morning last night, for me to decide to finally fold my goddamn laundry.
True. And she's been wanting to do that since we started this podcast.
Literally,
3 weeks
however
ago.
many weeks ago. Yeah, literally.
So, I'm right now on page 38. In order to finish chapter 3, I need to get to 85.
The fucking audiobook is 7 hours long.
It is long.
I didn't realize.
True. I've been doing it 1.5 speed, so.
Oh, T though.
But it's been one of those days. We had a very interesting last few days.
Girl, I spent way too much money.
Yesterday and today we spent way too much money.
Way too much. But I got this. We all have
a hematite ring now.
Hematite.
I had mine on with me
Have it on
because
my
I
thumb.
was doing my hair.
T, I had to take that shit off because I was like, hell no, I'm not damaging this bitch.
Hell no.
Hell no.
So what are we talking about today, y'all?
I want to discuss the book a little bit.
I think we do. We should just talk about the book. Do you guys have your guys' copy?
Yeah, it's right here.
Well, last week I read you actually we all read an excerpt of
Popcorn.
chapter 1. There was something that I saw in chapter 1 that I asterisked. I've been cheating also because I got this book from the Ark and there's already some writings in it, so I've also been following with whoever has been writing in this. So thank you. Whoever this was, I don't know if there's no name on it.
I feel like I retain more when I write in the books, even though
totally.
Whenever you're in school and stuff, you're always taught don't write in the books because they're not yours. You know what I'm saying?
True. Shoot, write in it. Have fun. There's a few things actually that I was very surprised with. I just can't find where it is. Let me just take a couple seconds.
I also got the Power of Now from the Ark today, so I was really happy about that.
That should be one of our books, though, because I
Yeah,
have a copy
definitely.
too.
And I do too.
Yeah. Yes. I also got the Celestine Prophecy.
Celsius. Oh, and I have a copy of that too.
Yes.
Yes, I do too. So maybe we can do that one. But I thought you were gonna do. Well, we haven't decided, or y'all haven't decided. Yours is the next books.
No, because Neki.
Neki.
Moomoo was next, so she said she wanted to do the Celestine Prophecy. Unless you've changed your mind, then.
Oh, that's right.
Celestine Prophecy is such a good book, though.
That's right.
I've honestly never even heard about it.
7 insights. It's super nice. Oh yes, totally. I'm going to take
Girl, for
a
real.
quick little hit while we're
Honestly,
recording.
like that 2
know,
hours of us just stressing about because we
was
bought,
a lot.
We
I
bought
mean,
3 mics.
I bought Brie a pack of cigarettes, and she's already on her 8th cigarette in the last hour and a half.
Girl, because I was just like chugging.
It's been
like,
stressful. I'm telling you.
like-
Also,
do you know how many apps we downloaded within the
literally
past 2 hours?
bleached our
Like-
hair, and Brie didn't leave hers in long enough. So when she washed it out, it was like still hint of green.
Literally,
and
I
blue.
haven't bleached my hair in so long that I only left it in for like 30 minutes and was like, what the fuck? And so I was like, I've literally had mine in for like an hour and 20. I was like, oh fuck.
But she's had her bleach in for maybe an hour now, and she looking like Goldilocks right now. So
Girl, I'm letting it.
we happy.
I'm letting that shit burn.
For real.
Honestly, if I have to cut it all off, fuck it.
Bree's ready to go bald at this
We're
point.
ready.
Girl, we both ready. Like, I thought you were gonna do your hair too, Nikki, because Nikki got
Powder, add water.
So hear me
Yeah.
out. The only reason why I didn't want to do it is because
no, because it's way better for your hair. Like, there's no like toxins.
True.
Well, she's not bleaching it. Is the other
It's like
thing.
no ammonia and stuff. But I don't want to do it because I have a lot of hair and I just don't want to spend the time
Girl,
doing
yeah,
it right
'cause, like,
now.
She's like, hear me out, I'm lazy.
okay, yeah, let's say that. I
Hear
just
me
way
out.
too lazy to dedicate the time.
EOS, end
And
of
plus, I don't
story.
have my hair dryer here. My diffuser.
True.
thing.
Oh, did you?
I don't have it here now.
Oh yeah, you don't have it here. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was like, wait, no, I haven't seen it because I would have used it.
Bruh.
Let me hit this real quick, and then I will read an excerpt off.
Actually, while he's taking that hit, I was gonna say I'll read like my excerpt that I actually really want to discuss with you guys.
Oh yes, let's go with you.
So it's on page 2.
I'm actually gonna grab the secret because I'm probably just gonna, since I'm going off the book, I'm probably just gonna read one of the summaries. You
Page
said
2.
page 2?
See.
Which is great because mine's in chapter 2, so let's start from the beginning.
Hey.
In the beginning.
In the beginning, God created. Okay.
Once again, this is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart
This is our
Tolle.
monthly read, or our book of the month, in a sense.
But the excerpt the first one that I want to discuss with you guys is, it's in the last paragraph, and it says, the first recognition of beauty was one of the most significant events in the evolution of human consciousness. And for me, I kind of deciphered that as like, what if he's talking about Adam and Eve? Because, they were basically, like, quote unquote, blind to their beauties until Eve took the apple from the tree and then ate it, and it's like,
Yeah, they had no
Aware.
self-awareness, yeah.
So,
See.
by them eating the apple, do you feel that was
Oh,
a
boy.
significant event in the evolution of the human
Yeah.
consciousness?
yeah,
Interesting.
well, because, like, you know how, I mean, for me personally,
If
growing
Adam
up,
and Eve is like a thing, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
True.
yeah.
But yeah, for me growing up, Adam or Eve taking the apple was like a bad thing because she like listened to the evil snake. But I was reading a lot, and like the serpent can symbolize, or serpents
Bitches got
symbolize
notes and shit?
wisdom.
Fuck, I am not prepared. Holy fuck. Damn.
Yeah, I was trying. That's why I'm only at page 15
Shit,
because I was writing
girl,
notes.
my room is clean, so I can like finally like not just lay in my bed and be like, my room is dirty, my room is dirty, my room is dirty.
But and Eve taking the apple, like that apple from the tree of knowledge, could symbolize her like awakening or like becoming enlightened by taking that bite.
Yes, I love that so much better than the Western Christian version that like, she committed the first sin.
And condemned the rest of humanity.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally, like placing all of the fucking blame, like holy fuck. Like,
On women.
literally on women.
And then the fact that it goes on and says that because of this, women were cursed with having to bear children.
But it's just like...
Girl, it is a curse, trust.
Well, I understand, but to think that
totally.
it's such a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah, for
creating
sure.
Pregnancies
Like,
and
literally.
everything. And
I 100%.
it to be said to be a sin or punishment of a sin that women have to bear. I mean, it's something that a man can never fathom.
Yeah, totally.
It's like impossible for us to bear children. So
true, and it's just like, and a lot of negativity like around childbirth and like giving birth to a child is just like the pain of it all. But it's like you can train your mind to not go through a lot of pain and like also your lifestyle.
Honestly,
too.
I almost feel like the negativity is like
You don't need a fucking epidural.
That's
all
what
I'm saying.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Like the negativity comes in. Like, I mean, honestly, it is nice for people who have like low pain tolerances and stuff like that. I mean, granted, I can't talk shit about anything because I've never actually bared a child before, but I just feel like I respect women who like do like natural births because like
True.
Like back in the olden days, like they had no other option, you know. Like,
exactly.
And I mean, I know that like because we have like modern medicine and stuff, like a lot more women like die less in childbirth. But I don't know. I just feel like it's like a more like on your own type of way. Like you don't really like need anyone or doctors to be there, and like because like it can be done like naturally, you know.
Like a holistic way of doing it too. Like that's what I want, you know, whenever I start bearing children. But like, it's just it feels like there's just so much negativity around childbirth, but it's literally like you're creating a whole new life.
Totally.
And it's just like obviously to each their own how they perceive like children and stuff, but like. You're creating someone, like, a new thinker, like, someone who's their own person, their own being. Yeah, they came from you, but, like, they're their own person. Like, no matter what idea you give them, they'll perceive it in the way that they see it fit. Like, you'll tell them, like, this book is this orange color. It is orange, like, a fucking mandarin orange. And then they'll be like, okay, a mandarin orange. But then he'll see a completely different mandarin orange than what you see.
Totally.
And so it's, like, it's just so beautiful, like the creation of life, and like I'd love to go
honestly,
deeper,
it's an experience. Like fuck, like even I've just seen like videos of it and shit. Like, and, like I can only imagine being there in like real life.
And
like,
I always thought about that especially
or
with
like
color,
they make you watch that video in high school or whatever. Like,
different in
I mean,
other
I
people's
didn't
eyes.
have to, but like I know like
many people, who, like especially men, who are colorblind, and yet. When someone just naturally says, "Oh, this is orange," that is how we perceive it as orange. When in reality, the three of us perceive the color orange differently,
completely
through all of our eyes. But yet we call it orange because we were told when we looked at the color wheel or whatever that that is what orange is.
True.
But yeah, totally, it's an interesting point.
And honestly, I absolutely hate the saying that children are like mini versions of yourself. Like, in a way it is, but like when you're like, oh my god, me and my like mini me, you're like just like conditioning them to be exactly like you.
True. Right. And then it's like once they do something that's like quote unquote like out of character,
yeah, totally.
It's like they'll come down on them so hard, and the kid might be like, why, you know, what's like, they'll blame themselves before they blame the person that's like doing this to them or saying this to them.
I mean, if you're saying it within like a certain like context, but like if you're like trying, so if you just like don't realize that like you are exactly like what your children were, like, you know, and like you have to like be conscious of the actions that you take or like the habits that you like show them, because children are just sponges, you know, and they just like absorb everything, like even your bad and good habits, you know, like.
And unfortunately, we put so much power into labels and into actions and how we are taught, and the control dramas, which kind of plays into
control. Yeah, that's where I'm getting at.
Prophecy. They go on to talk about different control dramas that are instilled into us at a young age by
religion, politics, anything.
But not only that, but just because
we live in a society.
Guardians or our teachers or parents or whoever that we look up to, they were also taught a certain way that, in a degree, could be closed-minded. And yet, they thought it was completely okay because this is normal thinking.
Yeah, that's
when
how
in
they
reality,
were taught.
it honestly isn't normal thinking, but it's the change. It's how I feel we change that thinking, without like disrupt or without, I guess, negating their thinking, because it's valid the way that they think. It's just that it's not inclusive.
Support children being individuals and being themselves, and not.
And that's why I was like,
blindly following.
I'm really
whatever,
against like the
questioning
school
everything,
system
like,
and like how we are all trained and
Hi,
taught like the
Rockefeller.
same way. Honestly,
like
and
for real.
I mean, to an extent, I can't blame the powers to be 100% because they also are trained with these control dramas or brought up with.
Oh yeah, totally.
This is
No
how it's
like
supposed to be.
shame bringing or nothing.
I'm sure that
like,
to an extent they're trying to help as much as they can, but to just paint a broad picture and say that this is how all kids need to be taught, honestly, is not great. It's really bad.
Yeah,
And
totally.
like, not to like change the perspective to something south, it's like kind of the same thing as like abused children don't know they're being abused.
Totally.
Because they're like, well, this is normal, this is the way of life. Like,
yeah, or they don't know
everyone,
it as
this is how
being
every
abused.
parent
Exactly.
trains, or this is how every parent corrects or does to their child, which is unfortunate because it's not.
Exactly. It's like.
But I would say that's for all victims, honestly. It's not just for
Oh yeah,
how a child is trained, but like things happen to people. Unfortunately, not the best things, with like just a lot.
like things that are out of
rape
your
and,
control. Like shit will go down.
Yeah,
even
and
if you like are able to
unfortunately,
control it or not.
the person thinks, "Oh, this must happen to everyone," and so they're silent about it. And then later on, they realize, "No, that was an extreme case," and you
totally.
being, I hate to say this bluntly, being like, touched by a stranger or,
It's usually someone really close to you, by the way. Or someone
Honestly,
that, like,
it's just
you
like
trust.
even like car accidents, like it always happens closest to home usually.
Totally.
Exactly.
It's super unfortunate.
Always close to home.
Teeth.
But there's actually
Back
this
on topic.
other part.
Please go.
Well, this other excerpt that I wanted to discuss with you guys too, that kind of it's along the same lines of like religion and stuff. And like, okay, so just a little backstory. The reason why I like discussing with them is because they were like raised very heavily, whipped with that Bible belt. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, you're talking about us?
Yeah, you too.
Oh
yes.
my gosh, yes, totally.
So that's why I like
and
to
it's
get their
crazy
insight.
because people
Kurt Franklin,
see
where
me
you
now
at?
and
I
how I
actually
act,
know that name.
and how I'm very open to a lot of things. Of course, being gay and being scorned for things like that.
Even to
growing
this
up.
day, like it's
But
crazy
like
to
people
me.
see me
like,
now
it's
and how I
insane.
act, and this is
We're in
not how I
2021,
was
like, chill the
back
fuck
in
out.
2005. 2005, I was like God fearing.
Fix your own problems first before you
Yeah.
try to go fucking pushing
Like-
that shit on other
Because
people.
the
And it's
Bible cover
unfortunate.
carrying.
Totally, it's ridiculous. What page, by the way?
Yeah, well,
Oh, page 9. So. But yeah, so that's why I like to get their insight because they actually are able to, they
Which
have a
trust,
lot of.
I've been trying to throw a lot of it away, but
Oh,
some of
trust.
it is just ingrained in you.
This is a non-judgmental podcast, by the way. Like,
Totally.
don't come for anyone. Like,
It's just personal bias.
And honestly,
That's all it is.
if you're highly religious, do what makes you happy, honestly.
Yeah.
And if that makes you happy, then there is power in persuasion. And if you
Yes.
can persuade yourself that, you're going to heal or this or that, it doesn't matter how you got there. It's the
yeah,
fact
even
that,
if
you were
even
healing.
if you have to fake it till you make it, like
Till you-
whatever works for you.
True. But I'm gonna make them awaken that side, or Sam awaken that side, because I have a lot of questions about
Totally.
like.
Want to grab my cigarette?
Let me know another bowl.
Quick
Literally.
excerpt. It was crazy to me. Like after I graduated high school, like I mean I know like there's like people who were like raised with like either like atheism or like no set religion, but it always just like amazed me about how different other people's experiences are with like life, just because.
You
Like,
mean by
Christian-
them not...
Yeah.
By them being raised not religious? and
Yeah,
you
not
were.
religious. Yeah, because being raised religious, like not like Mormon or like Baptist Christian or anything, but like still like the tight fucking belt that is fucking Christianity.
Yes.
Like, it just like was like crazy for me to have these conversations about like other people's childhood and like have it not based around fucking like Jesus dying on the cross.
Totally. And I also feel that like in almost all religions there's like the good people and the bad people, and like, you know, you're part of the good people if you believe.
Yeah, somehow you're always a part of the good people, and then
and
the
like
other people
everyone
are
else are the bad people. And I just feel that like being raised not
There's, like,
atheistic,
wars and
but
shit.
being raised like knowing that you have to prove your worth in a sense.
Yeah.
That like there could be good people out there that
And
are
even if you
genuinely good
think-
people, but they're just religious.
Even if you
But there could be
think
very bad people out there that
bad
claim to
thoughts,
be
sexual
religious that are
thoughts.
bad.
Yes.
you're going to hell.
Totally.
Like,
And-
if you see that dirty mag and you get hard or you get
Totally,
wet,
literally.
bam, hell,
Like,
right there. There
the
you
fact
go.
that
like-
God in the
Unless you do
Christian
5 Hail
religion can
Marys
convict
and
you of a
whatever.
thought crime is honestly appalling.
Honestly, thought crimes. That's exactly what it is. Like, oh my god,
Totally.
I hate 1984.
There is
like,
a debater. I don't know. I was trying to think of it.
Look at Chunky right now. Like,
Oh
what
yeah,
is-
he's literally just
what is
looking
the
at us like,
intensity?
"Hey."
He's like, guys, the
want
energy in this
dessert
room was
now.
like was like mad stressful, so I went and took a power nap, and here I am.
Literally.
Like,
I just feel that like if humanity could shed this Bronze Age idea that we were born and made into sin, and that we have to work all of our lives in order to relinquish us from this sin, that people would thrive so much more if we just got rid of that idea.
honestly,
Because you're not born in sin, you're like born how
yeah.
you are.
However you perceive that is however it's going to go for you. Like, so if you believe you're going to go to heaven, I do feel like you're going to go to whatever version your heaven is. But if you do feel like you're going to go to hell, I do feel like you're going to go to your own version of hell. Basically.
Totally.
So I asked Bree this question a while back. I don't know if I asked you this,
Oh, no,
Sam.
I'm scared.
But like, so if there was an actual like second coming of Christ, or like, you know, the Christ came again, he was here. Do you think like all these organized religions, like these top organized religions, would accept him as the real, like he's real Christ, the real?
Oh, but are you trying to say that whoever this Christ is that's real is different from their religion and ideals?
No. Like this is actually like Christ, like Jesus Christ. Like he came down and he's like, I'm Christ, and it's just like everything leads to this is Christ. But do you think
That people
that organized
who are, like,
religions would deny
Islamic
it?
or-
No. Do you think that the organized religions that like always say like the second coming of Christ, you know, you got to be prepared for it?
Oh, totally.
Do you think they would say he is Christ, or do you think they would deny him?
I think it would depend. I think it would depend on how, or on what he says. If he comes and he says, I am Christ, this is this, you know, these are my miracles, you know, this is my proof in a sense, and people are like, whoa, this is true.
Well,
But he says, and everyone's going to heaven, whether you're a killer, whether you're a rapist, whether you know,
because they
this or that,
already
they would reject him.
yeah, they would already.
They would think that
reject
he's
him.
a loon twack, you know. But if he said, you know, something in the lines of, if you are good, or this or that, or, you know, if you helped humanity, or if you helped your neighbor, or love thy neighbor like yourself, or whatever, I feel like it would resonate to an extent to a lot of religions, and they would be like, oh, he must be the real deal, or a reincarnation of what the real deal is.
Honestly, I feel like it depends on every different denomination of every single religion there is.
like their God came down.
Yeah, because
a lot
if
of
you
them don't
say
believe in an actual
even
God.
one
Well, I mean, if you said
thing
Jesus
that
Christ,
like makes
you
them
mean, like,
think outside
the
of the
Caucasian
box,
Jesus
it's
Christ?
automatic.
One person. Sorry.
Continue, sorry.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, clarify what you mean by, like, Jesus Christ coming. Like, is it, like
the second coming of
Western,
Christ.
like, white Jesus Christ, or is it, like the
Like,
actual, like...
What Catholicism, like everyone
So, like,
believing
the
in like
white
the
or the
monogamous
Caucasian.
God, one God.
And he was the one that, like, showed himself and revealed. And,
Yes.
like, how would he reveal himself, though? Like, in the sense that, like, he just, like, popped up here, and then, like, literally everywhere else in the world where there's someone else is. And
Oh my
he
gosh,
did,
like on every broadcast.
But, like, popped up in, like,
Okay.
a holographic almost effect, or...
Final answer, I feel like there would still be that one crowd
Turmoil.
that would just completely be like, oh yeah, we agree with the same everything, but he's not Jesus Christ because Jesus Christ has
Did
a
this.
fucking mole on his left ass
Totally.
cheek or some shit, and
Totally.
this Jesus does not. So
And then because of that, we'll just...
yeah, we're just gonna
We'll still
just
follow
gonna
our
as soon as you
mole-less
like have that
Jesus.
like sense of like doubt, it's just like automatic like walls down, like fucking
And then also take into account this, like, when he comes, don't you think the first thing he would say is, like, a lot of these organized religions are a facade because they're all for profit. Because you know how a lot of people start religious organizations knowing that it's tax-free.
I think that regardless, so like, if he appeared, let's say he appeared himself in front of every single person at the same time, and is saying this to every single person, I think that at that point it's between them and him or her, whoever this apparition is that came down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if someone popped up right now while we're doing a podcast and says I'm this, that, and the third, but like I can't explain anything, then like I would be inclined to be like, well, I want to know more. Like, how else can you prove this? Or like, how else, you know, I would in a sense challenge
like,
this
shit,
person.
Bianca,
But
I didn't know you
some
were
people.
Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. Honestly,
Goddamn, okay.
Honestly, like, shoot, we kicked you out a few times. Damn, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like,
my bad, bro. Like, don't send it out.
You would have told me, type of thing. Oh, you were
cool,
testing
right?
us?
Like...
So we failed, huh? Like,
shit, well.
But, like, I just feel that, like, people one-on-one would generally be more accepting if he, like, proved himself, in a sense, or themselves to them as they were, like, seeing him pop up and, like, say all this shit. Now, if it was like a recording on TV, yeah, totally. The mass amount of people would probably just regard it as some twack job.
Totally.
But, like, if it was something that was, like, for example, if aliens all of a sudden came and were like, we're aliens, we're a superior race, this is who we are, we created you, or we created this, you know, space-time continuum as, like, well, whatever, and, you know, you were an offspring of us, or whatever experiment that we decided to do, obviously a lot of people would be like, holy fuck, they're the real deal, you know, like, they came out of nowhere, like, they have to be it.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be the same kind of aspect.
Another crazy thought into that theory, what if other people could see that version of Christ, like, come down?
What do you mean?
So, like, you have your version of Christ, like, coming to you personally, and, like, we're all in the same room, but what if I could see your version of Christ? And you could see my version of, like, Christ, but you have your own version. You're just like... Would they, like, physically be different?
Then I would
or, like...
feel that it wouldn't be more so who is there or being represented, but, like, the actual, like, spirit.
Yeah, totally.
And then I would be, like, more inclined to ask, like, well, who actually are you? Not, like, what is this facade that you've seen in my memories and, like, somehow, like, related to me by showing yourself or revealing yourself in this way. Like, I want to know more of who you actually are.
True.
I feel like just the thought, if you, like, think about Jesus Christ, like, the image, that first image comes to your mind, like, maybe he's white with, like, brown hair, maybe he's black, or maybe he's, like, fucking whatever, like...
Maybe he's a woman.
Exactly, maybe he's a woman, like, or, like, a fucking alien, or, like, a... Like, honestly, at that point, looks don't matter, like, you know,
totally.
It's, like, totally just the inside, like, subconscious,
like the connection.
totally.
Wait, so what is this leading up to?
Oh, that was off topic, but okay. So like, I
don't even know how we got here, but here we are.
Jeez.
Are we still recording? I just want to make sure.
We are, yes, it's going. We are currently
just because I don't want to be
audio listeners. We're at 28 minutes.
Oh shit.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
That's not bad.
I gotta wash my shit out.
Oh, true.
Oh yes, you do, huh?
So, finish your thought, and then I go do that, and you guys
Well, are you gonna read an excerpt? Okay, so...
I'm ready.
How
Page
about,
9?
How about, because it is midnight, remember I told you midnight is when you need your hair.
Yeah.
So, we're just gonna pause real quick, and then we'll just...
Or I could just start reading the excerpt while you guys are gone.
But I can just pause it, and then...
Oh, that's right!
Or if you want to read the excerpt, and then pause it, and then we'll, like, reconvene.
True.
True, but then I want to talk to her about the excerpt.
Yeah,
while it's
but
paused.
so you have time to think about it. You know?
No, but then I want to be talking to her about it. I would rather be... So, literally our audience are like, who the fuck cares? Just talking about it.
No
I'm so
cares,
sorry.
Literally, like...
Okay, so we're back. Hey, Bree. She washed her hair out.
It's so bad, bitch.
I think it looks great, honestly.
It's so
It looks
bad.
really cool.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, by the American Beauty standards, it's...
Girl, I'm
it's
outside.
different.
I'm outside of it right now. Like,
But I love the uniqueness of it. It's very
And then
Yes.
brown in the back. Like, what?
I think it looks great. I don't know.
No. It's so
I think
bad.
it's really good, actually.
Girl, no. Like...
But we're gonna let her hair dry. Mine's almost dry completely. Maybe a little bit on the root. It's just a little bit wet. And then put the color in. So it's dope. Let's see how it goes. But until then, Nikki, take it away.
Okay, so I'm reading an expert.
An expert. Albert Einstein.
Excerpt. It says, according to Christian teachings, the normal collective state of humanity is one of original sin. Sin is a word that has been greatly misunderstood and misinterpreted. Literally translated from the ancient Greek in which the New Testament was written, to sin means to miss the mark, as an archer who misses the target. So to sin means to miss the point of human existence. It means to live unskillfully, blindly, and thus to suffer and cause suffering. Again, the term, stripped of its cultural baggage and misinterpretations, points to the dysfunction inherent in the human condition. And so I wanted to get your guys' input on input on, like, you know, the whole sin equals to miss the mark, and how he wrote to sin means to miss the point of human existence.
Free.
I
I have to reread it slightly.
Yeah, same.
Because it says sin is a word that has been greatly misunderstood and misinterpreted. 100% believe in that. I agree that it's not the meaning of sin that has been misinterpreted, because we already know that, like, sin is something bad, right? But
Karma
it's
does
what
exist. Like,
exactly
bad things will
is
come
perceived as
believed
bad.
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
bad. Exactly. That is kind of the misinterpreted and misunderstood, because being, like, gay myself, and, you know, siblings that are gay, and you as well, Nikki, that we are an abomination in God's eyes. Thus, through his teaching, his word, through many Old Testament books, when he talks about destroying people who are like us, i.e. sodomites and whatnot.
Facts.
That's a misunderstanding and misinterpreted, I feel, also, because I feel that if someone who they believe is supposed to be all loving and all this and that and blah 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 blah, also though a protector and this and that, you know, what characters of what an actual father should be to their kids, then whatever you are, he or she or whatever you perceive this father to be, shouldn't be judgmental about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like there's a big flaw in the Bible when it talks about how
There's a lot.
Like, well, I'm saying in this
Well,
aspect, like how it like depicts a certain people for living the certain way that they were born is fidelity and wrong in a sense. And also, it's misunderstood because people believe that because God's word says that gays are going to hell because they're an abomination, people believe that they are an abomination. But in reality, it's man and
Blindly believe.
other women who are preaching these doctrine that are to blame fully for it.
Well, there's a lot of things in, like, the New Testaments that have been, like, changed. This could be something we can
And that's my
discuss
thing. The
too.
Bible's
True.
been changed
I
so
should
much.
mention,
True.
growing
It's
up,
literally
I
a game of
actually
telephone.
was part of the religion of Christianity where the King James Version was like the solid truth. Any other version was trash, because like every other version after the King James Version was from the King James Version, just dumbed down or made more easily understood by people who
Simplifying, you know.
in a sense, yes. Whereas the King James Version was like the most accurate, transcribed from whatever language, Latin or Greek or whatever language.
From whoever else
Dead Sea
translated it,
Scrolls were
from
from-
whoever else
Totally,
translated
and
that
honestly,
from.
the King James Version is very flawed on a lot of words that they interpret, and that's what I'm saying is that like, even looking at the most accurate English version of the Bible is still very flawed, and yet people have like dumbed down that flaw and still believe it.
Well, what I was gonna say, other than like flaws, is that there's an excerpt where it's like, man shall not lie with man, and that's actually something that was changed because prior to that it was man shall not lie with boy.
Totally.
But because
Yeah.
Whoever was sitting down in front of the table had such homophobic thinking was like,
do they think back then, or like this version thinks that like women who also lie with boy is okay, you know?
man, well, I think
You know what I mean?
they perceive,
or man to lie with
Or
girl is
women,
fine, you know what I'm saying?
And then on top of that, or women were just not important
Well-
back then. That like, when you say man, you're talking about everyone in the world, like
Including
men and
girls,
women.
yeah.
as I was
Which
saying,
is
like,
unfortunate.
it could be.
Yeah.
Unfortunate. It's like that
But-
alone is a big flaw within the Bible, is by saying man, or like the term man
Generalizing.
that is supposed to mean everyone, when in reality men are like 45% of the world population. Women
Yeah.
greatly outpopulate men. So like,
Well, that's what we
Well.
call growth, because we realize it's not, it's not like
Dude.
right or not like.
And that's
fair.
why most 2021 apps that have been updated now, like, in your gender you can select other, like there's
Totally.
another option.
totally.
Or, like,
Or even prefer not to say.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's just like now.
Why
it's
should it even matter?
like,
It doesn't.
exactly?
It honestly doesn't. So the one that the sentence that stuck out to me most was it means to live unskillfully, blindly, and thus to suffer cause suffering. In The Secret, I just got through the chapter basically that touched on a point that attachment equals suffering because you're attached to the outcome, or you have like some sort of like standards to like for that outcome that you want for you to be happy, you know. Or just like, again, having like the thought that like, oh, you have to like plan out everything, and like even things out of your control, like you have to worry about them like in this day and age. But because you're attached, like especially me as a Christian, or as a previous Christian, like I was super attached to like to my thought about how like I was gonna go to heaven, or like how this person that I've talked to, I've deduced myself in a biased opinion that they're going to hell because of just the shit that they've said, or some
was
dumb
embedded
thing.
in your-
Like, yeah.
Your mindset back then.
But basically, because like so many people are blindly like following this religion, or like their parents' thinking or whatever, like they're attaching themselves to the outcome, or to a one specific outcome that they need to happen for them to be like whole and complete, basically.
Someone's here.
When really that's like complete the opposite. Wait, what?
Someone's here. That's what that means. The dancing flame. Someone's here. Anyway.
Leonie, where'd you go?
Leonie's gone.
Leonie's gone.
like, I'm in the room because like I'm safe over here. Like, shoot.
But if you just let go of that attachment, like, or if you're just like open to change, like change isn't bad, you know. We wake up different people every day, like we're changing all the time, like literally crazy shit.
Like, so different from
Today
the
I
person that I
like
was
my hair
24
blonde
hours
today,
ago.
but like in like the next 2 hours it's gonna be red and it's gonna be even better. Like
Totally. I think it looks great right now, for the record.
Same.
But if you just let go of that attachment, like, what if it's like being a Christian? I always like would think about like hypothetical arguments like that haven't even happened to prove that I was right about something. Like it validated me to like be like, oh, I'm right, you're wrong because of this, that, and the other. Like I don't know, it's just like such a weird thing that like growing up, like, you always want
Wait,
to
from
be,
like a
like,
Christian
right,
standpoint, or just like from day to day, like
both, honestly, like,
damn.
honestly, like, but if you just let go of that fucking whatever it is that's actually holding you back, then, like, that's when the real work, like, starts, and you can just, like, move
You'll be able
on
to
to bigger and better
grow.
things, like, fuck.
Exactly.
Definitely agree. Bree? Excerpt? I think you should read
I actually have,
page 3.
I was listening to the audiobook, and I don't know when it stopped.
Well, I think that I want to talk about...
Again, I was not
page
prepared,
2 and
apparently,
3.
for this podcast
Page
at
2, all the way at the end, there's a sentence and it starts with flowers.
Wait, what page did you say?
2.
2.
And this is kind of continuing on what Nikki was talking about in her first point with her first reading. A backstory. When we read the beginning excerpt, we talked about flowers and how they populated the whole earth before any type of life form was even thought of or made. We were still, in a sense, amoebas and cells in the primordial soup, i.e. the ocean,
Yes.
until we crawled out on land. And
We
how-
are, like, 75% water.
Totally, and how
True.
It makes sense.
beautiful the sight would have been if we would have only been there. To see the whole world covered in just green vegetation, and all of a sudden a mass awareness happens within flowers, and they all of a sudden all bloom around the world.
Yeah.
Like a whole world of just blooms going.
And it's like the first
Crazy.
flower, like, probably didn't last that long.
Totally
because
not.
the earth, like, wasn't, like, super adapted to the conditions or, like,
Or
whatever
it
else.
wasn't
like,
Yeah.
like adapted to like the atmosphere and like what it is. But
It's
anyway,
until-
so
yeah.
this excerpt that I want to point out also plays onto that. Bree, I want you to read all the way to the end of the paragraph.
Whoa. Okay,
Page
the last
3.
paragraph. Oh, page 3.
Yeah, so do you see we're on page 2 at the bottom where it says flowers? It's like the last sentence. I want you to read that all the way to the,
Okay,
to
cool.
the end.
So, flowers more fleeting and more ethereal and more delicate than the plants out of which they emerge would become like messengers from another realm, like a bridge between the world of physical forms and the formless. They not only had a scent that was delicate and pleasing to humans, but also brought a fragrance from the realm of spirit, using the word enlightenment in quotations. In a wider sense than the conventionally accepted one, we look upon flowers as the enlightenment of plants.
And then it reads on that any life form in any realm, mineral, vegetable, animal, or human, can be said to undergo enlightenment. It is, however, an extremely rare occurrence since it is more than an evolutionary progression. It also implies a discontinuity in its development, a leap to an entirely different level of being, and, most important, a lessening of materiality.
Magic does exist.
I think it's just crazy because
See.
plants in general are very dense.
Yeah.
They're plants, they're strong, they're resistant, resilient. A plant shoot, like we've all seen, can go through concrete from like the pressure of like the shoot sprouting from the seed.
They're very, like, grounded. Like, they don't really
Totally.
have any, like...
And they're very like sturdy, but
predators
a flower that
at this
literally
point, anyway.
blooms from a plant is very fragile. You can pick it and it will literally die.
Yeah.
Like, smells amazing. It's completely different from what the plant actually is, but it's like a next step in its evolutionary process
True.
from the plant, which is like, it's interesting that Eckhart Tolle put that scenario or that paradox, or not paradox, but so I can't think of the term.
Soliloquy?
Almost like
That's
that.
just a random word that, like,
No,
kind
like,
of I don't actually know.
Like, I'm sorry, that parable. In
Oh,
this, I know, literally, I was like way off. Literally, I was like sitting around the mountain, like, what the fuck is that in the Bible? It's called a parable. Trust. But the fact that, like, he put that parable in his birth, and then likened how if plants or flowers are like the evolutionary jump from plants, so are humans and what we can also jump to. But then also every other aspect of what's on this earth. As it reads on, it talks about how rocks, one of the densest forms, they can undergo changes in their molecular structure to turn into crystals and become transparent to light. Something that's just like miraculous change in a sense from one to another. Or even how reptilians are crawling. That's how they started, and the fact that they went from crawling to one day spreading wings and growing feathers or something to insulate them and for them to take off of land, something that they aren't able to get away from. They are land dwellers in a sense, and sprout and become birds in a sense.
Yeah.
But then so too are how humans can.
Yeah, totally. I feel like humans, this is also just my ego as a human being talking, but I feel like humans are almost like the same, like one of the most important, at least for a time, like biggest change in like the sense of materiality. I don't know why that's so fucking hard for me to say. Materiality.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Is it the ganj? Yes.
She's still shocked by her hair? Yes.
Girl, I'm so pissed off right now. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, not even pissed off, just like...
Shocked.
Yeah, I'm quaking right now. Like, honestly.
Yes. Bring back 2017 quaking.
Please. Bring back Vine, too.
Please.
Please.
We must those 7-second videos.
Dude.
More than some people, they'll last. Continue.
But yeah, I feel like that human being is just because, like, we're at, like, the top of our own food chain, I guess, you know, like, or that, like, I feel like now we've gotten too comfortable, totally, as, like, a species, just because, like, we haven't, like, experienced any, like, super, super huge, like, dinosaur wrecking, like, natural disasters, or, like, complete, like, genocide of our species yet, so, it's just, like, a different way for the world, like, expressing itself, basically, like, because, like, the
pandemic's the closest we can get to
something.
So, like, I want to ask both of you this question, do you think that in order for, as with, like, flowers, something that's so new, so vibrant, so different from a plant, that in order for humans to also bloom into their next consciousness, mass destruction needs to take place, or Nikki?
Wait, so like
in order for us to evolve or go into that next evolutionary jump, we need to go through this mass destruction in order for us to be forced to, like, evolve,
like,
in a sense.
Oh my gosh, bringing religion.
I feel like it shouldn't
Because
have.
you brought up that, like, we feel, and it's true, that the human species feels like we're the top of the food chain, but, like, something needs to happen in order for us to evolve even more to, like, an understanding that, like, we don't understand right now in this evolutionary jump.
Yeah.
But in order for that to happen, do you think that destruction needs to happen, or, like, something to end or to cut?
I feel like it shouldn't have to happen, like, that, like, crazy existentially, like, thinking about, like, our own genocide and shit like that, but, like, honestly, if I'm, like, being super 100% real honest with you, like, changing everyone's mindset like that, like, for a lot of people, probably.
Yeah.
Which is really sad, honestly.
Like, you have to go
or just to be,
really...
like, realize that, like, nothing right now matters. Like, it's only the meaning that you give it, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. No, it's something interesting to think about.
That's also me just being extremely pessimistic.
Totally. So no. There's another part that I wanted to talk about. I think goes on a lighter note, to be honest.
Because, like, damn, okay. And with that,
but it does kind of go into deeper. I mean, honestly, that was the first 9 pages, with Nikki's second excerpt. of a new Earth. So like it goes deeper in it. This one's on page 25. It's the start of chapter 2. It says, "The fact is, you don't know what it is. You have only covered up the mystery with the label. Everything, a bird, a tree, even a simple stone, and certainly a human being is ultimately unknowable. This is because it has unfathomable depth. We all can perceive, experience, think about all we can perceive, experience, think about is the surface layer of reality, less than the tip of an iceberg. Underneath the surface appearance, everything is not only connected with everything else, but also with the source of all life, out of which it came."
Actually, the topic of that comes up a lot in The Secret, where I'm at right now. With labels, like how labels is actually like putting that sense of certainty that your ego needs, which is what the ego does. It's like calculates and like probabilitizes until like you meet the certain reality that you want. Should not have hit that bowl the last time. to keep the train is going. The train of thought is gonna stay right here. Oh yeah, with like labels, and honestly, how like big of an issue labels are, because like it's just like basically your own mind like wanting to categorize and like basically just missing the point, like we talked about earlier. Like
I feel also we create labels because we want so desperately in our human mind to make sense of everything.
Exactly, because no one fucking knows what's happening.
It's
right
yeah,
now.
we don't know exactly everything, and
so ego's the best way to like.
It's kind of like because I also
pick up the breadcrumbs that are coming from that loaf somewhere.
Or no, it wasn't last week. It was like Friday. I was talking to you about a video that I watched that I created years ago.
Oh my god! Yes, we have to watch that. By the way,
Dark Flow and the Great Attractor.
The theory, the Dark Flow theory.
Also, the fact that it's so unknown, but yet we still label it because we have to somehow, in our minds, make some type of sense with it.
Yeah.
But in layman's term, I talked about how
and how
we
that
are
reality
a
is
supercluster,
only
like
the
whole
first
universe.
layer. Like.
And within the supercluster, we are in. I can't remember what it's called, but it's called. Or I can't remember what the name is, but it's called the Lineakea. And we are just like floating in space. And there's another supercluster, which I forget the name of it, but it is gradually colliding with the Lineakea, which at a rate faster than the Lineakea cluster is moving. So, of course, it's being theorized that one day they're going to collide together and either make something new or a destruction, i.e. the destruction of Earth type of thing. But then they pulled it even further and they realized that these two superclusters, which, I mean, to think of a supercluster in itself is so unfathomable, like, to think like that we are so minute in this process that's going on. But we, Lineakea, and this other supercluster, we're both moving in the same direction, and astrophysicists have been able to see in recent years that there are many other superclusters out there, and they're all also moving with us to something.
Like at the same rate, they're all being pulled
a
certain way. So we would collide if we were standing still with the other supercluster.
Which we will one day, because like it's like train A, train B scenario. Train A is moving faster than train B, but train B left first in a sense. When will train A catch up with train B type of thing? Yeah. Well, it will after so many eons of years. One day, Earth will be just it's kind of something where Bria and I were talking, and she was like, I wonder why more people aren't talking about it. It's like, well, it's something that is literally hundreds of thousands of maybe even millions or billions of years from this time that, like, why talk about it type of thing.
Yeah,
and
the
it's like, it's something interesting,
of that
but
is
it's
not
like,
affecting us right now, so we don't care about it.
10 million generations after us, it won't affect.
Or that's not the first thing on our minds. Like,
totally.
We're still, like, wake
trying
up.
to like save other things. Like
Yeah,
the
don't
Earth
save
from,
money
like,
for that one trip
overheating.
or like.
But the observable universe is only so observable because we're not able to see
with the human eye,
further,
like with our technology
and
right
like
now.
with like the rovers that we've sent out into space, they're just constantly going and taking pictures, and so we're able to map out more and more. But they've only gone so far from the time that we sent them out. They're going to hopefully keep going, if not indefinitely, and we'll be able to maybe one day see the end of space if it's even possible. But right now, we can only see so much. And everything that we can see is going towards one direction, but it's outside of the seeable universe. So we don't know what's out there, but the theory is that either we're all traveling to this destination as superclusters or whatever, or something is attracting us and pulling us towards it. I.e., it could be a massive, supermassive black hole, but it's something
we literally
we can't see it.
Yeah.
Like it's like so far out there.
And
like,
even this is theory. Like we
totally.
don't actually.
And so
know
they
anything.
dub it the Great Attractor, which a lot of people also don't like because you're still labeling it. So
yeah, because attractor may mean like within
something
these
is
specific
actually coming
ranges,
at
and
us
it's
and
actually
like pulling
like
us in a sense. When in reality, that's not true. What's actually happening is that we're just moving, and everything's moving along with us. So we're not necessarily being pulled; we're moving. So then they call it dark flow, where it's something that we don't know what's happening, i.e., dark, and we're flowing. We're just going, type of thing.
What were we talking about before?
But no, I'm just saying that like we were talking about that, and also how like I don't know how we got off topic about that, but
I know that's because I had a terrible explanation.
no, I think it's because we were talking about something where like with the evolution with like humans and whatnot.
Oh, like labels.
Hold on.
No,
I need to piece this together.
Because
I was trying to. I know, literally, I'm trying not to be Garrett and Andrew, but like we just did. No, I wanted to like put in because I brought that point up because I wanted to like say how we were talking about that subject. I think
it's like labels is literally trying to generalize something as big as the universe.
Oh,
or
that's
like
what
picking one word to describe all of human existence.
Totally.
Like, is it life? Because like life is such a generalized term.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think I was trying to like put it into inference that like even though we don't know what's out there, people are labeling it.
Mm-hmm.
When it's just
or like
they're
people are
labeling
ready
it
with
so
their
that
pitchforks,
they
ready to
can
deny
be,
whatever
like,
the fuck
happy.
these people have to come
Right.
out. Or like,
when in reality it's like we really don't know what's happening. It's
and it's just like you see all these websites and like how misinformation is spread around. Again, like a game of telephone because like no one actually knows, so everyone's just assuming about a bunch of shit. But like, so, like literally, I'm thinking about like when I went to fucking church camp in middle school, and like I went to this thing where like basically the whole point of the session with the video and everything was like basically deducing the theory of evolution. So literally the world only started, like the world began a few like 1,000 million years ago. Like no dinosaurs, like all the fossils were like put there, like just blindly believing shit basically, you know, like.
But back then, did you believe it?
Girl, yeah, trust,
Same,
I did.
honestly.
Like, literally, like,
What'd you
literally,
say?
it was me and one other kid there sitting and watching the whole thing,
And it's
talking
crazy
to
to
the
think
one,
that
like, professor dude,
literally
like...
2020 years ago, 21 years ago, Jesus was sacrificed on a cross, like, and that, like, changed everything, and now we're doing, you know, AD and not BC type of thing, like, we hit 0, you know.
And, like, to think back
But, like,
then, like, people
what?
would just go to, like, attend, like, public hangings or, like, executions of, like, the shores, like, just because, like, literally no evidence, like, hey, you were at the right place in the right time, so, like, let's go.
They
Get in
still
the fucking
do,
truck,
bro.
like, in the horse carriage, please. Like,
I agree. But that kind of finishes my excerpt. By the way, that chapter is called Ego, the Current State of Humanity. Honestly, it's pretty interesting. One of them that I wrote was words reduce reality to something the human mind can grasp, which isn't very much. And then it talks also about the illusory self. Also,
It's
in
crazy.
one of our future books, the Celestine Prophecy, it talks about the control dramas, and this also says how, as the child grows up, the original I thought tracks others' thoughts to itself. It becomes identified with a gender possession.
It's the labels you give yourself.
Body, a nationality, race, religion, professionalism, other things. The I
All those
identifies
things
with
are
our
labels.
roles like mother, father, husband, wife, and so on. Accumulated knowledge or opinions, likes and dislikes, and also things that happened to me in the past, the memory of which are thoughts that further define my sense of self as me and my story. Type of thing. It just like it honestly is just it's an interesting chapter of the ego.
It's honestly mind blowing to think about how many different languages we have, like in the planet right now, but like we're all talking about like the same things pretty much.
Totally.
Like, well, I mean, obviously very different things in some areas, but like an apple
That was on
is
page 29,
still
by
going to
the
be
way.
the same concept as an apple anywhere else. You know, it's just a different spoken word for it.
or label in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. Label.
Or clicks or sounds
Yeah.
that someone makes from their mouth.
Or like sign language and braille. And all
Totally,
the other
yeah.
different forms.
Or even just like how it's looked.
Of communication.
Perceived, or like hand motions, or yeah, totally. So I think our new challenge for this week is to like reread 1, 2, 3, or what?
Yes, I need to.
I
I need to start
agree.
it because like fuck, dude.
Because, yeah, I'm only on page 15.
But it's interesting, like, and like I talked about last week, the book is plethora of knowledge that's just jam packed. So even though it's a very light read, there is so much information that you can get from it. And
Yeah, it's like the words are
it's
not
almost like
hard
bad not to take
inherently,
notes, honestly.
but the way they're put like together, you need time to process it
Mhm.
for sure. Like, or even like reread over stuff.
So yeah, totally reread chapter 1, 2, 3, and then we'll reconvene. I'm actually gonna finish the chapter that I'm on 2, and then
Yeah.
go to 3, and then I'll go back.
No, honestly, you don't have to go back. Like,
No, because I kind of want to reread it just because honestly it's interesting.
yeah,
But on a different note, I think that we have exhausted the podcast time for the most part. We're talking about this book, so I kind of want to like talk about something different that's off book topic.
wow, fuck my book topic.
What do you mean?
I was just
It's-
gonna read a summary. Of
Okay, that's fine. Totally, we could do that then. Like, I just want to like kind of like branch
Diverge,
away
yeah.
from A New Earth. I feel like we've been just like talking about it.
Sucking Edgar Tully's dick so fucking hard.
Literally the
like,
last 50 minutes. Fuck, he lasted
50
a long
minutes?
time.
Fuck.
The first video was like 39 minutes.
No, it was longer than
No,
that.
it was like 39 minutes.
Well, the second one was like
Well, the second one.
The
is,
second one was over an hour.
No, this is this. No, I'm saying the first part of this.
Oh yeah,
Podcast,
yeah,
so
the first part. Yeah.
So we've literally spent an hour and 10 minutes just talking.
That just shows you how great and insightful this book is. Because
Totally.
literally, like, the first 10, 15 pages we spent...
We
so
literally
long
talked
talking
about everything. Like we
Yeah.
literally, well, not everything, but we literally got there. Like fuck.
Yeah.
We
I'm
only
okay with
discussed,
that.
like, 3 topics.
Totally, and I'm okay with that. But we're gonna go on to what was the book called again?
The Secret,
Secret.
by Rhonda Bryan. So actually, I read this secret summary. It's like a chapter summary with Marcy in the car, who I work with, which was pretty interesting.
Mutual friend.
Yeah, mutual friend. Yes.
Hey, Marcy.
Hey. So I'm probably just gonna read a few of them. Okay, so one of them on one of these secret summaries, chapter, page 43. To know what you're thinking, ask yourself, how are you feeling? Emotions are valuable tools and instantly tell us what we are thinking. So, like, listening to your body, you know, like, if you have to, like, eat or, like, basic shit like that.
Smoke. Wait, what? It wasn't on, it's not in there?
Okay, anyway. I was gonna tangent, but I can't. Okay. Your thoughts determine your frequency, and your feelings tell you immediately what frequency you're on. When you feel bad, you are on the frequency of drawing more bad things. When you feel good, you are powerfully attracting more good things to you. So, like, they're, like, super simple, just, like, easy, like, basically just, like, convincing yourself that, like, literally anything's possible. Like, just you, like, trying to, like, literally just, like, taking things, like, step by step. Like, the law of attraction is always, like, manifesting what you want or what you think about the most. And the last one is... Oh yeah, the last one is the feeling of love is the highest frequency you can emit. The greater love you feel and emit, the greater the power you are harnessing. That's it. So you have a lot more power emitting love than the lower vibrations, which are like lower on the scale.
Which also reminds me of a Spirit Science video that we watched where he talked about how, like, for so long we felt anatomically that the heart listens to what the brain says and, like, is, like, the workhorse of the brain that's supposed to be, like, the know-all of the body. But in reality, the heart tells the brain more than what the brain tells the heart. It's like, without the heart in the human body or within most any species out there, it's honestly, like,
this book
not
is
alive.
This book is definitely, like, trying to get your brain and your body to, like, work together. Because, like, even in a work sense, you're, like, working as a team if you work with, like, other people. You're not working, like, just as an individual or, like, part of the greater picture of things.
Yeah, I haven't honestly read Secret.
Same.
Had it for many years.
It's honestly a really easy read. Like.
Yeah. I say that about a lot of books, and I buy them, and they're honestly wall decorations.
Yeah, no, I totally understand you.
Which is unfortunate, because
I used to read so much, like, when I was younger and stuff, but, like, ever since I started working, I just, like, that's all I focus on. Like, yeah, totally. Sometimes, not all the time. But yeah, literally the secret is just about the law of attraction and trying to get your mind and body to work together. Or just, like...
having to work against each other.
Yeah, totally. And just, like, letting go of all attachments. Like, not saying, like, your loved ones. But, I mean, if it doesn't serve you, then why are you still hanging on? Like, there's always, like... You always have to, like, look into the past. Even though, like, a lot of people, like to dismiss the past because, like, you can't really change it. But being aware of, like, patterns and, like, things that, like, you hold in a high... Like, on a like, things that you put on a pedestal. And you're just, in reality, creating resistance if you put things on a pedestal, basically.
True. And I like the first one where it's like your emotions have a lot of power because, like, my family growing up, it's like a lot of times with the boys, it's like, you're a man, don't cry. Like,
yeah,
why are you
totally.
crying?
Yeah, exactly.
Even when I would cry, it's just like, why are you crying? So I held a lot in. Like, for a very long time, and then, like, actually being able to let out those emotions, like, actually felt really nice. And
because as, like, 10 years or, like, 5 years pass on, you're like, why am I still, like, in the same place? Like, not changing, not doing, like, why am I still the same, basically? Or why am I so comfortable with being the same?
These patterns?
Yeah.
Like, you could be doing great in your life, but, like, mentally, you haven't changed.
Yeah, totally. If you're, like, super advanced, like, financially, so you don't have to worry about money at all, so you can literally... You're not living to survive, basically, but then you neglect, like, the heart part of you. Yeah. And, like, what actually makes you happy, or, like, what other life goals you have aside from that, you know?
True. Like, are you doing it because it makes you happy? Are you doing it just, like, for the money? Or are you doing it...
Yeah,
like...
or just because your parents put this super huge weight on you that you, like, they make a lot of money, so you have to make a lot of money. Like, it's just...
Or you have to live up to the standard.
Yeah, definitely. Like, definitely live up to that label, or, like, you have to create a label for everything, because that's how we work, basically.
That's
Which
crazy.
labels are, like, good to an extent, just like the yin and yang. Like, you have to have good and bad.
Yeah,
but everything in moderation, basically.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that labels carry weight, and some weight is positive. You know, aside from what people believe, or contrary from what people believe. But I feel also that we, as a society, put too much weight on some labels that shouldn't have as much weight.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was also gonna mention, sorry, like with going back to the whole like religion thing, it also like sparked something in me like right after my junior year of high school. Even though I had like started reading, I got into like the book genre utopias and how like it like related so hard to me because of like being raised as like a Christian and like in that light category of things. Just how like utopias like literally they don't have to have a god or anything. Like it depends on what book you're reading or like what source you're getting it from. It's just like everyone like has this sense or like has this idea that like or like this image of like a perfect world and like in a sense what would that perfect world be? Like world peace or like no starvation, like no wars or something. But then like what's the underlying like theme of that? Like is it just like because usually utopias don't exist, basically. They're all dystopias because, like, a perfect world in this realm, anyway, does not fucking exist.
Does
like,
not.
at all.
No.
And it was just, like, crazy for me to, like, read back, like, after I, like, got out of the whole religious scene and stuff. Just, like, how hard that, like, hit me that, like, perfection doesn't exist. Like, that label, like, of, like, a perfect anything, like, doesn't really exist in the material world anyway.
Yeah.
Because everything is temporary. Nothing's, like, nothing lasts forever. Nothing's perfect forever, you know?
Like, you're gonna go old, you're gonna get wrinkles, and it's just, like, you're gonna die.
Yeah, literally. So, like, why am I spending all of my time, like, worrying about this, or, like, trying so hard to control something that's out of my control, or, like,
when you could just live in the now.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is also the
power of
precept
now.
of the power
Oh, full circle. Okay, we're getting somewhere.
No segues in this podcast. And I think that we're done for today.
Honestly, I'm so dead.
I think that we've exhausted our audio listeners, and
I'm so tired.
Honestly,
of my hair.
I'm exhausted. Like I think that like this podcast.
And just after today, like, and all the shit that we went through right before we started actually
and,
recording.
Like, a lot of things happened today because, like, we went to a metaphysical shop, and it was Nikki's first time going. Bree and I have gone there a couple times already.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Nikki, like, how was it for you?
The energy there.
Beautiful, yeah. So inviting, like, the owner or co-owner, she was there, and automatically, like, she made me feel like I was, like, at home. Jazz, yes. And then the other girl that was working there, what's her name? Ren?
Or she's a vendor, yeah.
Another vendor there. She's very knowledgeable of crystals and how they're sourced, and she likes to,
yeah, honestly, after she said that, I was like,
crystals.
Girl, I'm on your bandwagon. Like,
right?
Take me wherever you're
like,
going.
What's your name? Do you have a webpage?
Literally, I was like, okay, like, can I get the plug though? Like,
true.
Totally.
Like they had just gotten moldavite in, and I was just like, oh, how much is this? She's like, well, it's $100 a gram. So like, this piece right here is $200. I was like, well, you can put that back.
Literally, like, fuck.
Which it was so.
It was
beautiful.
it was like the size of a nickel.
Yeah, totally. It's literally the one she had in her drawer.
Oh my god!
Like a $400 or $500 one, And
it was
like,
$480. I saw it.
and like I picked it up, and like the energy that I felt from it, I was like, oh my god, this is like, it's almost was too much for me, and so I was like, take it back. She's like, don't be intimidated by the price. I'm like, I'm not even looking at the price.
Yeah.
It's like how I felt from it, because it's like, definitely it was probably the biggest piece of moldave I've ever touched, and yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot of energy from that, and it's
Yeah.
just like, it usually calls out to you, and for me, I just didn't feel like that strong connection with it. And it wasn't even the price point. Like, when I first held it, I was just like, it's very strong, the vibrations, but it was just like,
is it what I need right now?
Yeah.
You know?
And then for me, also, I like to be knowledgeable of what options I have, because I know there are other healing crystals with the same healing properties as moldavite, and I like to know my options.
Everyone was super like helpful until like not just, they're not trying to make a sale, like basically.
Like, yeah, I mean,
even though it is a part of it,
kind of trying to make a sale, but they're not trying to push a sale onto you.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Like,
they're just kind of telling you like what it is.
Yeah. Or like give you the other options. Not even like as a price point, but just like what they feel like you would like need right now.
Yeah, and they also do readings there too.
Yeah.
And she seems pretty insightful. Like, I wasn't really, like, I didn't know it was a reading. Like, I thought it was an interview because it was kind of like in the open. So I was just like,
if only they had like a little back room, like
I would love to do it, but yeah, it's just kind of a little bit too open for me. But the other reading, it was just like, she just, I mean, I stopped listening after I realized it was, but what the girl did say was that she was pretty spot on with everything, and it didn't feel like that, oh yeah, you're totally spot on, and then like in the back of your mind you're like, well, actually, you're really off. Like, she seemed pretty genuine when she said that.
Or like, you're only spot on to like things that I wanted you to say.
Like, totally.
Played into what I wanted to hear.
Or like right after she was done with the reading, they both like stood up and like went like to the cashier. You know, they were like still like talking.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it wasn't just like,
it didn't feel like a timed thing.
Yes.
Like a cash grab.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then after that, we went to the Ark, which is a thrift store in Colorado Springs. There's like 4 or 5 locations here in Colorado. Or in Colorado, sorry.
In there, I put the crystal things, I think, in the Sally's bag.
Oh, okay.
Crystal. Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so I was like...
And literally, like... I mean, just to say, like, how heavy today was, on the heels of all of that experience, from the metaphysical shop, then, like, we started going to dreams in the car, and so, like, that whole thought process of, like, how deep your dreams can be, like, that in itself was a heavy topic that we had literally in the car before we even went into the Ark.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
And then literally after that, we went to Sally's to get the shit for the hair. And then we went to Tucanos, which I've never been before in my life.
Same. It was amazing. Like, fuck, I was dead.
I've been there once before, and oh gosh, it was so good. But yeah, Sam and Bree, they were like, they weren't ready. I was ready,
not ready.
And I knew what I was in for.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still reeling from it.
No, I'm not even hungry. Like, my stomach is like...
I didn't say that.
But okay, my stomach, I feel it's still there. Like, everything is still there.
Kind of there.
Kind of there.
I mean, mind you, this was like 5 hours
I mean, mind
ago,
you, I have to,
okay.
like, expel some demons after this, so, like...
Yeah.
Sure.
And then we went to Walmart. On top of all of that, when we started our day, we went to Dutch Bros. So we've been pretty busy today. And then we came home and tried to do our hair and this podcast. And
set up the podcast, not actually the podcast. Like.
So what I'm trying to say is that I'm tired.
Girl, same. Like, honestly, I wish I could have been at full brain capacity for this, but honestly, like...
Same. We should have done this hours ago, but we were just...
Yeah, literally, and it was like so late on schedule.
Literally,
like,
and I feel like also... We have probably overloaded our listeners. I mean, we don't have any listeners, but if we ever did get listeners, this is
I've
very
overloaded myself.
Literally, like, it's been... I feel fried, and not because my hair is fried right now.
No, yeah, tea, my brain cells.
Right now.
I feel like they have gone with the bleach.
Totally. So, I think I'm going to end it here, y'all. Yeah. Please
Hopefully you get
like,
something out of
subscribe,
this.
leave a comment. We'd like to hear comments about
leave
how...
claps in the comments because
That's what it is, claps.
R.I.P. Anchor,
Please.
honestly. Like,
Totally.
trash, you can't even comment on shit.
Please. And I guess we'll just...
Wait, are we posting this to Anchor?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, cool. I was gonna be like, kidding, love you, Anchor. Can you just edit that part out? Okay, cool. Please
Funny, because I'm
subscribe.
gonna edit. I ain't gonna be editing shit. She knows that.
And literally, oh my god, when you were talking about like, oh my god, so like we have 3 mics, we're just using one right now. And like he was like, okay, so like I'm just gonna record from my side and then record from Nikki's side, and I'm just gonna overlay them. I was like, girl, are we actually gonna do that?
For real, and honestly,
Like,
with this one mic, I mean,
honestly, not bad. Like better
it's
than
not
anything
bad,
else.
but it's better than anything that we've done so far.
Trust.
And you could see
Hopefully
from
by
our
next
history
podcast,
of our last 2 podcasts.
yeah, improvement already. Hopefully we will have
Everything
multiple
done
mics, everything good. Like we
for
won't
our
have
next
to worry.
podcast.
Yeah.
True.
But until then, I guess we'll see you next week and have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.